We are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 13, Arrow on the Doorpost. This episode is rated TV MA, so will this video be. And like all other videos I've done on the show, there will be spoilers for the episode itself and all the ones leading up to it, all of which I love. Let's dive right in. So yeah, it continues to be a credit to the show how, like, the character work is so strong, both writing and acting, that... yeah, I mean, this episode is basically just people talking. Two of them are sitting down for a good chunk of it, you know. There's some Walker killing and a few characters meet that, you know, we the audience had met separately. And it really works. It's deeply engrossing television. Yeah, I think I will talk some about the governor and Rick first. I like the detail that both of them send away Andrea. You know, neither of them completely trust her, and this thing of maybe neither of them completely want a peace agreement, or maybe they just don't believe that the other would agree to peace. And Andrea definitely does want you know, she's one of the only people who, you know, really does sympathize with both sides. Like, yeah. Even Merle seems to have quite quickly, understandably so, the governor betrayed him. But yeah, he doesn't seem to worry about what would happen to Woodbury without the governor. I'm not saying that it would be wrong to take out the governor, but Merle didn't even say they'll find another leader or something like that. Just, yeah. And Rick and the governor are basically like testing each other, trying to figure out where the other, you know, yeah, instead of spending a lot of time talking terms, really. And I quite like that the governor, you know, he basically tries the trick that worked for Rick at the end of Season 1 with Shane, of saying, oh, look, I'm putting down my gun, and then another weapon, you know, within reach. In a very Black Widow kind of way, also. But yeah, you know, he's trying to get him to lower his guard, and he's ready with a gun in case, you know. And I can imagine he also did think that Rick actually would, you know, take his gun and put it away instead of just holstering it. And yeah, really strong character moment with, you know, Philip Blake, the governor, telling us, I'm just going to make sure that's probably not something I have to deal with. Yeah, that can wait. Yeah, you know, telling, you know, the thing about his wife's death, and, you know, he explains it was an accident. There was, you know, it wasn't some, like, murder, which I guess wouldn't have prevented him from writing a comic book that was then made into one really solid movie, several kind of meh ones, and a remake that I haven't watched yet, but I would like to. But yeah, he asks for Michonne, and, you know, reveals the eye, which I believe I said it last time as well, but holy crap, fantastic makeup on that. Just, like, I know how they did it. I know that that's not his real eye. They're not going to hurt the actor's eye for that. But it looks so convincing, and just the fact that we can just barely sense, no, yeah, technically there is some eye left back in there, though he almost definitely can't particularly see well through it anymore. But, you know, just, like, it wouldn't be quite as creepy if it was just, like, flesh the whole way. It would be creepy in another way, you know, it'd be more Hellraiser-y. But yeah, you know, I am not certain if he really thinks there's a chance that Rick would go along with that, or if he's purposefully setting terms that he knows Rick is going to turn down, you know. And then, you know, in walks his right-hand man and tells Rick, "Did you even say thank you?" But yeah. And they go back to their respective camps, and the governor acts like, "Oh, they're definitely going to attack. Just make sure you spare Michonne for me." And Rick claims, "Oh, he wants the prison. He wants us gone." You know, like he says to Herschel afterwards, he's trying to scare them. You know, and yeah, he is seriously considering giving Michonne, and he wants Herschel to talk him out of it. And it is this thing of, because, you know, she has just proven, you know, Carl has accepted her, she is one of them, and yeah, just, and I think part of the reason he's not telling the rest of the group, only Herschel, is that he's worried that he's going to have another Shane situation on his hands, you know, because Shane knew what was going on, and he kept going in a different way from Rick, and it ended up with Rick feeling like he had no choice but to kill Shane. So, yeah. I quite liked Merle trying to talk Glenn into, you know, and trying to leave, and they managed to stop him, and Maggie just, she's becoming a real badass, you know, trying to choke him, and Michonne gets involved, and then Beth fires a gun, like, she just, yeah. "I came here to sing charming folk songs and kick ass, and I've already sung my charming folk song." And yeah, I quite liked Glenn and Maggie making up, and, you know, him apologizing as he should. It's important to apologize when you're in the wrong. That's something that a lot of straight cis men need to learn, especially when it comes to women, because we're taught by so much of you know, Western culture that women should be beneath us, and that's a terrible way to have a relationship with someone. And I like the thing about, you know, can't do it in front of the walkers, so they get into the little area instead. And let's see, I think, right, yeah, I know there are some people who think that universally, after you know, someone has been sexually assaulted, they're put off sex for a long time. There are a lot of people for whom that is the case, but for others it absolutely isn't. So it is a credible, you know, depiction here. Right, I like the thing about, you know, Merle says, you know, me and Daryl have, you know, hunting calls. You know, I can signal to him, and he'll, it just, yeah, really, really clever. And this thing of, well, Andrew's caught in the middle, kind of, yeah. And yeah, the look that, you know, Merle gives after, you know, Rick comes back and says, "Didn't go so well," you know, he's like, I told you we should have done it." And, you know, I think Glenn and Michonne were both like, we might be right, you know. I think, you know, and yeah, the governor says, you know, "I know you have more guns, you know, I've been watching you. I know you have more guns, but we do have more men." Yeah, but I mean, you are including that kid who had asthma, you know, the one whose mom said, "BB gun, be gone." And right, some solid Walker killing, and the ridiculous machismo of the, "Oh, you go ahead, no, you first," and then, you know, Andrew's like, "Fine, I'll do it," you know. And the knife throw was quite badass. and the one arrow goes through the head of one and into the neck of another. Let's see. I think that might more or less. Milton. Did we know before now that his name was Mammoth? I wonder if he's related to the Mammoth or not. His dialogue isn't quite as it's good, but it's not Mammoth. But yeah, the thing about I'm sorry, I don't feel the need to explain myself to the henchman. That was and it had real vibes of the that bit in Mandalorian with the Mandalorians, and him, he's writing everything down, talks to Herschel, and he's like, how far above the bite did you cut? And Herschel, I'm not showing you my leg. You can at least buy me dinner first. And then he can't stop laughing. That was really funny. And yeah, I think that might actually be it for this one. I feel like there's something I'm missing. Very good hook. It's gonna be 2 days and then we'll reconvene. So yeah, I can imagine a chunk of the next episode might be, I mean, since he hasn't told anyone but Herschel, it might just be Rick and Herschel trying to figure out exactly how to proceed. And the fact that also the thing of, the governor won't tell Andrea exactly what, she's like, what terms, and he just doesn't reply, and she's like, well, at this point I know pushing it isn't going to get an answer from him. But yeah, this thing of, Rick pointing out, if we give him Michonne, he's going to kill her and then us. But what if he doesn't?